Okay, YouTube, so I just wanted to do a couple of videos. Since I've had this car, I've had to fix a lot of problems with it, and it's taken me a lot of time to figure out how to go about it. So I was just trying to help people. So basically this video is about why is my Mercedes so slow. So this is an 82 Mercedes. I think the turbos were 81 through 85, but this should apply to the 240 300Ds, the OM617 engine. So first thing on these engines, you have to adjust the valves because they lose compression and they'll start getting slow if you don't adjust the valves out. So first thing is make sure that your valves are adjusted on your engine. So on these, once you get through that, obviously, you know, replace your air filter, check that, because if the air filter's plugged, then you're going to have an air restriction, so that's a problem. The third place to go is you got to check your fuel system. So you've got these filters. There's actually 3 fuel filters you have to replace. You have this one, you have this one, and then you have one in the gas tank as well, and it's got like a screen and it just unscrews. So if any of those are restricted or plugged up, then you're going to lose power. And the other thing on these cars is this bolt leaks. Basically you have to replace the O-ring inside. I just use a Harbor Freight O-ring. It's been fine, it's not leaking. So, but basically you have to replace the O-ring on this bolt because that O-ring on the top will leak, and then you'll have fuel dripping down and it sucks in air, and then it causes the engine to basically lose power. So obviously the injectors make a big difference too. I replaced the injectors on this and I noticed a big difference in my power. Basically I was able to, it was noticeable. So, and it didn't smoke as much. So, you know, your injectors being in balance, they help too. But pulling air in the system is the big ones. Underneath the car, there's another thing here. You'll see a little hose, basically I have dripping down right here. But basically where that hooks up underneath the car here, this is a vent. And this vent basically gets plugged up. And so you have to undo this. I just run a coat hanger up through here. I keep this on here just to help protect it. But this up here, this clogs. And you'll have to make sure that this doesn't clog up. So just run a coat hanger up through this line, because if this clogs, then it's going to cause a vacuum problem, and then all of a sudden your car's not going to get fuel right. So you can even cause it, if it completely backs up, it can cause it to pull all the fuel out of the system. You know, if you have a problem when you open up your gas cap after running it, diesel cap, and you'll hear like a vacuum, it'll pull in air, and that's how you know that you need to get on here and clog this line. So check that. And then, you know, like I said, there's 2 fuel lines that hook into the gas tank up underneath. So you want to make sure that you don't have leaks or air pulling in on those 2 lines. So check those, check this. And then the third thing, and this applies to the turbo cars. So if you got an 81 through 85, so this switch here, this is a this hooks up to the for the vacuum, for the boost for the turbo. But when this switch goes bad, basically you won't get signal vacuum from the turbo, and basically the turbo won't work. So what I did is I bypassed it. You can see that they're not hooked up, and I basically just took the 2 lines right here and tied it in through here, through with this rubber hose, and then that restored boost from the turbo. So now basically my turbo works, because when this switch goes out, your turbo dies. You won't get any boost. And they don't really talk about this switch, but this thing sucks. So I know it's there to protect, you know, from boost pressure, and like, yeah, you really do need it, but these switches go out all the time, and then the turbo doesn't work, and then the car becomes a turtle. So you're pulling your hair out like, why isn't my turbo getting boost? I ended up rebuilding my turbo, doing all this, it still wasn't working. And then I found out about the switch later. So I want to make sure that people know about that. So start your engine up when it's running, and then when it's running, crack all these lines one by one, and make sure that you notice that the engine does the same on every one. You should notice that it starts to shake and run worse when you crack open each line, and as long as it does that on all these, then that tells you that your injection pump's probably fine, because you're getting equal fuel to each one of these. So that's how I check this. I've never had a problem with this. The leaks do happen here on here. This is the push button, or the primer bulb for when you're running out of fuel. So this I've had to replace this because it started leaking. But anywhere that you have air coming in, you're going to have a big problem. So make sure you check these lines, make sure that there's no air coming in, check your injectors, make sure that they're not leaking. You'll see fuel seepage. Any of that tells you that you got a fuel leak, and if you got a fuel leak, then the car isn't going to run right and you're going to lose power, because any air in the system, it's going to kill your power. So, but those are the big ones. Just make sure your valves adjusted, make sure all your fuel lines are good, make sure that this banjo bolt here, it has the rubber O-ring and it's not leaking fuel, and also the fuel leaks down and it kills the motor mounts. And I've had to replace these motor mounts a couple times because this damn thing was leaking, and it gets on there and it just eats the mount up. So basically you want to make sure you keep an eye on that. But as long as you got all your fuel leaks dealt with, and you don't have any leaks anywhere, and you're not pulling in air anywhere, and your fuel filters are clean, and you don't have the problem with this switch here killing your boost pressure for your turbo, you got a clean air filter, and you should notice a big difference. So the other thing is, if you want to know your motor's healthy, when you go to buy these things, just crack this cap open with it running, and if it just stays there and just kind of like doesn't blow the cap off, then you know your motor's probably okay. If it blows this thing off, then you know your engine's starting to lose compression. So, but that's a good way to check it without doing anything. Just see the condition of the health by the way that the cap, if you open this up and that cap just stays still, then you know you got probably a really solid motor, especially if you got good oil pressure. Always check your antifreeze whenever you go to buy these, because if they have a blown head gasket or anything, when they're running, you'll see bubbling coming up in here, and then basically this will fill up with oil. So make sure that you check this. This should be nice and green and clean when you go to buy these cars. So, but basically I've covered what I wanted to. I just want to make sure that I got this out, because those are the biggest things. Oh, and the other thing that can cause you to be really slow is this. So this here is this rubber piece here that hooks up to the throttle, and I don't really know the name of it, but this son of a gun goes bad and the rubber stretches, and then you're not able to get good throttle. And so make sure you inspect this. So this is just the throttle linkage rubber boot, and this thing here fails, and then the car becomes really slow. So, but check those things, and hopefully you should be able to notice a difference in your power and the way that your car runs. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Y'all have a good day, and I'll make sure I cover more videos covering different things. Thank you.